Back at the Kentucky Derby as the jockeys are given their cue to walk down from the jockeys room. There's Corey Nakatani, who is 0 for 13 at the Kentucky Derby, but won his first Santa Anita Derby on Colonel John.
And what a story it'll be if that kid right there, 20-year-old Gabriel Saez, wins this race. He's attempting to do something that's never been done before. It's his first Kentucky Derby today, but he won the Kentucky Oaks yesterday. Jockeys have won the Derby Oaks double before, but never on fillies. He won that thing yesterday for Larry Jones, trying to do it again today on 8 bells.
So a 20-year-old jockey with a chance to make a little history. See Robbie Alvarado with the Z on the front of his silk sir, who is the jockey on Curlin, last year's Horse of the Year. Curlin came to the Kentucky Derby and, of course, has the same situation as Big Brown, lightly raced, only 3 races under his belt. He couldn't win the Derby, but went on to be Horse of the Year.
One difference with Curlin last year, he was a horse that didn't break well from the starting gate, a totally different style than what we have with Big Brown. Big Brown, he could stumble from the gate. Anything can happen in the Kentucky Derby, but 2 different kinds of horses. Kent DeSorma's smile on his face. Saw Saez in the jocks room this morning. Didn't look like a 20-year-old kid getting ready to ride his first Derby. He looked very confident, very, very relaxed. Came into the room later on in the afternoon, later than any other Derby riding jockey today.
Let's go to Mike Battaglia.
All right, thanks, Tom. And with Owen Hardy, of course, the trainer of Colonel John. And Owen, you just made your first walk as the trainer of a horse. Now, you've made this walk a couple times with Bob Baffert. Did this one feel any different?
Actually, I made the walk several times with Bob, but this one I felt a little more relaxed, you know. I didn't want to mess it up when I worked for Bob, and I'm quite sure I haven't messed it up myself, yeah.
So you seem very confident.
Well, I'm confident he's going to run very well.
What about the move? Everybody's talking about that move from synthetic to dirt.
Well, I think Gary Sherlock put that one to bed earlier. So, yeah, that's a good omen. My horse is trained very well on the track, and I expect him to run accordingly.
All right, good luck to you, Owen. We hope he runs a big one. Let's go to Kenny Rice.
All right, here's a man that is proof. Never let go of your dreams. 70-year-old Benny Stutz had given up on ever making it to the Kentucky Derby. He's here with runner-up in the Florida Derby, Smooth Air. Benny, you've had this dream. Is it coming true now? What's it all been like for you?
I'm here, and the old saying is you can't win if you're not in. He's in.
Is it everything you thought it would be, making it to a Derby now?
And more, and more. And I will say one thing. I got a call about 30 minutes ago from a friend of mine called Alan Jerkins, wishing me luck. That made my day.
Well, good luck to you today.
That made me somebody.
All right, Benny, good luck. That's the Hall of Famer Alan Jerkins making the call of good luck. Let's go to Bob Neumeier.
Well, the Kentucky Derby is a race of dreams. These 2 gentlemen you're looking at 30 years ago had no idea they'd be here. They're from Cuba. Carlos Juel, immediately to my right, 68 years old. Dr. Jose Prieto is 78 years old. They were Castro dissidents. Dr. Prieto was in a jail for 5 years under the Castro regime. Carlos himself worked in hard concentration camps. But somehow they got out of Cuba, immigrated to Spain, came to the United States, got together, put up $35,000 on Gallego. Carlos, how did you pull this off?
Well, it's the American dream. I think just to be here and try to make the Kentucky Derby a reality, it is wonderful, and we are enjoying every minute of it.
Doctor, I know your English is limited. A 1-horse stable.
God and freedom is what arrived us to Gallego.
We wish you luck.
Thank you.
The unlikeliest of Derby owners. Tom?
All right, Bob, and there's Corey Nakatani, Owen Hardy on his right. There was a 4-year-old filly, Inaguru, who won the Humana Distaff at 14-1. You heard Owen Hardy mention her. She'd raced exclusively on synthetic before today. Maybe a good omen for Colonel John. A look at the paddock here at Churchill Downs prior to the 134th Kentucky Derby. And the command about to be given, riders up, and the jockeys will get a leg up on their mounts for the Derby.
Ready, Nick? Go ahead. Riders up!
That's Cool Coleman, the jockey Julian Leperoux. Here's Tale of a Connie, Ibar Koa. Anak Nakal, Rafael Bejarano getting a leg up from Nick Zito, who had 2, of course. Number 4, Court Vision. Garrett Gomez is up. Here's the filly 8 Bells and 20-year-old Gabrielle Saez. Larry Jones with a hold of the bridle. Z Fortune is the 6 with Robbie Alvarado now getting the leg up from Steve Asmussen. 7 Big Truck. Javier Castellano aboard. There's Visionaire, Jose Lescano. Number 9 is Pyro, Sean Bridgemahan. Steve Asmussen will hoist him into the saddle, and there he goes. Here's Colonel John. Corey Nakatani is already aboard. Z Humor with Renee Douglas. Smooth Air and Manuel Cruz. Bob Blackjack, Richie Migliori. Mamba and Ramon Dominguez. 15 is Adriano. There's Edgar Prado getting a leg up from Graham Motion. Dennis of Cork. Calvin Burrell. Cowboy Cal, John Velasquez. And now the call to the post, and then that special moment, the playing of My Old Kentucky Home.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yum Brands, parent of KFC, Taco Bell Pizza, Long John Silver's, and A&W Restaurants, is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Kentucky Derby. Based in Louisville, Kentucky, Yum Brands is the world's largest restaurant company with over 3,500 restaurants in more than 100 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, the management, staff, and horsemen of Churchill Downs proudly present the 134th running of the Kentucky Derby presented by Yum Brands. Please rise for the playing of My Old Kentucky Home.
And the roar from the 150,000 or so. The horses have never witnessed anything like this in their young lives. But you made a comment, Gary, that you thought this was the best behaved field of horses in the paddock that you had seen at the Derby.
By far, all of them were just handling everything so well.
So here are the horses in the Derby. Number 1, Cool Coleman. Nick Zito tries to become only the 7th trainer to win 3 or more Derbies. Julien Leparoux aboard. The Colt won the Fountain of Youth, but then was 9th in the Bluegrass. Number 2, Taylor McCarty, half of the tag team, trained by Barclay Tag, who won the Derby with Funny Side, owned and bred by Chuck Fipke, one of 2 geologists who discovered Canada's Ekati diamond mine. Still owns 10% of it. This horse won the Wood Memorial, but in the slowest time since 1952. Number 3, Anak Nakal, the 2nd Zito horse. The name means mischievous child in Arabic. His best race last year, a win in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes here at Churchill Downs. Number 4 is Court Vision. Bill Mott, the all-time leading trainer at Churchill Downs, is 0 for 4 at the Derby. So is jockey Garrett Gomez. This horse a disappointing 3rd in the Wood, but blinkers on today. Had a brilliant workout with him last week. Number 5 is 8 Bells, the filly owned by Rick Porter, trained by Larry Jones. They're hard spun, second in the Derby last year. It's been 9 years since the filly ran in the Derby, and as you know, only 3 have won. 8 Bells has taken 4 races in a row. Number 6, Z Fortune, Asmussen and Alvarado teaming up. Of course, they were the combination with Curlin. Alvarado leads all jockeys in purses won this year. He's never won the Derby. Z Fortune a good second in the Arkansas Derby. Number 7 is Big Truck, the second tag-trained colt, winner of the Tampa Bay Derby, but 11th of 12 in his last race. That was the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland. Number 8 is Visionaire, Michael Matz, Barbaro fame, the trainer, Pan American native Joe Lescano, his second Derby, winner of the Gotham, then 5th in the Bluegrass, but the only horse closing ground at the end of that race. Number 9, Pyro, named for the hot wings served at Ron Winchell's grill locations in Las Vegas. In the Risen Star, he had an astonishing move to win, then added the Louisiana Derby before struggling home 10th on the synthetic poly track in the Bluegrass. 10 is Colonel John, named for retired Army Colonel John Grider, the first Derby horse for Dublin-born Owen Hardy, but he was here, as he said earlier, with Bob Baffert. This horse won the Santa Anita Derby. It's his first start on a dirt track. Number 11, Z Humor. Bill Mott trains this colt for the Zayat stables, a 45-year-old Egyptian Ahmed Zayat, who also owns Z Fortune in this race. This one off a third in the Illinois Derby. 12 is Smooth Air. The only other time 70-year-old Benny Stutz saw the Derby, he was standing on the hood of a car in 1959. After 40 years in the business, he'd just about given up his Derby dream. Now he's here with the Florida Derby runner-up. 13 is Bob Blackjack, the $4,500 yearling, part of the 3-horse stable trained by the owner's brother, Jim Kasparov, second in the Santa Anita Derby. Earlier, set a 6-furlong world record on a rock-hard Santa Anita track. 14 is Mamba. Todd Pletcher's won the Eclipse Award as outstanding trainer the last 4 years, but he's 0 for 19 at the Derby. Owned by Jack Wolf and Company, Mamba had excuses in his only bad race, the Fountain of Youth, cut on the leg and a breathing problem, but bounced back to win the Bluegrass. 15, Adriano, ridden by Edgar Prado, Barbaro's jockey. This colt won the lanes into Turfway, but 9th in the Fountain of Youth, his only previous start on dirt. 16, Dennis of Cork, named for Father Dennis Casey of County Cork, Ireland, and trained by David Carroll from rival County Meath. This colt has only 1 loss. It was his last race when he was 5th in the Illinois Derby. 17 is Cowboy Cal, the name John Long gave to owners Janice and Robert McNair's son 34 years ago. Long later succumbed to cancer, and the McNairs will donate any earnings to the Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. Cowboy Cal second in the Bluegrass. 18, Recapture the Glory, Roussel and Lamarck looking to win the Derby 20 years after Risen Star failed. The first Derby mount for E.T. Baird, whose dad, the late Bobby Baird, was 0 for 5 in this race. Recapture the Glory took the Illinois Derby wire to wire. 19, Gallego, named for the natives of Galicia, a region in northern Spain, trained by a Brazilian for 2 Cuban immigrants, winner of the Arkansas Derby. That was his first start on dirt. And 20 is Big Brown. 1915, the last time a horse with 3 or fewer starts won the Kentucky Derby. Original owner Paul Pompa is a trucking operator in Brooklyn and named this colt after UPS, who ironically has its hub in Louisville. That's the field of 20 set to contest a 1.25 miles in the 134th running of the Kentucky Derby. We'll race for the roses when we come back.
A year ago, Calvin Burrell rode Street Sense to victory in the Kentucky Derby. Who will wind up in the winner's circle today? Will it be Big Brown, unbeaten but untested? For both his trainer and jockey, today is a chance for a new beginning. We know a bit more about Colonel John, but will the late closer be able to weave his way through a crowded field? And then there's 8 Bells. It's been 20 years since a filly won this race. Would today be her day? What about Smooth Air? Might a 70-year-old trainer make good in his first run for the Roses? Just a few of the questions as the 134th Kentucky Derby draws near.
And as soon as those questions have been answered, another will inevitably be posed. Does the winner of this 134th Kentucky Derby
have a legitimate chance to become the 12th Triple Crown winner and the first in 30 years. All the recent near misses attest to how difficult it is to do and how long the odds are, but that won't stop all the speculation between now and the Preakness in 2 weeks. Just about set to go. Let's return to Tom and Gary.
All right, Bob, and the horses behind the starting gate there in their final warm-ups. And we understand, we were talking about how well behaved the horses were in the paddock as they were leaving the paddock in the tunnel where we wouldn't see it. Recapture the Glory had a problem apparently. Donna, what happened?
Well, Tom, as the crowd erupted, Recapture the Glory was still exiting the paddock, and I talked to his jockey after he got onto the racetrack, and he said that essentially he just got bucked off. The horse just blew up on him, bucked him off pretty hard. He landed on his back, kind of got the wind knocked out of him, but once he caught his breath, he said he's no worse for the wear, and Recapture the Glory did seem to settle once he got out onto the racetrack, Tom.
What does this do to your confidence, Gary?
Well, you know, it doesn't help. This is his first Derby. First of all, it's a little bit embarrassing, and to have your wind knocked out of you just before going out into the racetrack for the Kentucky Derby, it doesn't help. This horse, he looks all right out there on the racetrack, Donna, right now.
Yeah, Gary, he does look good out here. Actually, all the horses have been pretty calm and collected for the crowd, especially given the fact that they certainly did erupt when the horses hit the track. Big Brown has looked good in the post parade. Colonel John's been on his toes. He's a horse who definitely is thriving on the crowd, but he hasn't broke out into a sweat and indicated that he can't handle it, Gary.
No, Donna, he's a good filling horse. He came out on the racetrack on his toes for the Santa Anita Derby as well. And to me, no two horses have looked as good as Colonel John and Big Brown this week. And the way they came over the paddock looked the same to me, Donna.
I agree with you. I think they looked professional all week, and they looked great in the paddock. They've looked great in the post parade. You know, we talked earlier about 8 Bells and how big she is compared to other fillies. This filly, back to winning colors that you won on 20 years ago, might be as big as winning colors, Gary.
I think she is bigger than winning colors. Not sure if she carries as much weight, but she's taller.
All right, and a look at Colonel John. Here's Kent DeSormo's family, his wife Sonia, his sons Josh and Jacob. Watching, we saw the feature earlier on DeSormo and his family. There it is, and Colonel John continues, as you mentioned, on his toes. Let me ask my two former jockeys here about the wind. There's a pretty stiff headwind in the stretch, and they'll run through that stretch twice in this 1.25 mile race.
Yeah, and the speed horses are going to be at a disadvantage because of that. There's drafting that's going to go on the same way as there is in NASCAR, and it's going to cause them to, you know, to take some energy out of them early on.
So the horse is beginning to load into the gate. That on the right is the auxiliary gate for the outside post positions. A look there at Big Truck, trained by Barclay Tagg of Funny Side fame, into the starting gate with jockey Javier Castellano. The 15 there is Adriano and Edgar Prado. 17 Cowboy Cal, expected to be one of the early leaders.
Hey, tell him we got
Pyro goes in, Sean Bridge-Mahan. And the horses continue to load for the Kentucky Derby, the 134th edition of the Run for the Roses. And here to call the race is Tom Durkin.
There goes Gallego in post position number 19, and there's the favorite with only 3 starts. Going into that Kentucky Derby starting gate, Big Brown. He'll have to beat some inexperience and 19 3-year-olds who is inside. They're in the gate.
It's a lip cord. It's off.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. Cole Coleman breaking alertly from that inside post. Bob Blackjack has some good early speed as well. Big Brown is there on the far outside. 8 Bells forwardly placed. And here's that stampede bias for the first time. And Bob Blackjack has taken the early lead. Recapture the Glory is there on the outside. Cowboy Cal is third. Big Brown on the far outside is 4th. Then it's Cool Coleman 5th toward the inside. Z Fortune up close early, running along in 6th position. Gallego 7th on the outside. Tail of Aconti is 8th on the rail. Monbo 9th on the far outside. Big Truck is running in 10th. Court Vision is 11th. Sea Humor is 12th. Adriano is 13th. Anak Nakal is 14th. And then it's Smooth Air 15th on the far outside. Colonel John is 16th early on. Pyro is 17th. Then a break of another 3.5. Back to Visionaire. And Dennis of Cork is the last of 20. 47 seconds flat for the opening half mile in this Derby by Bob Blackjack. On the outside, Cowboy Cal pressing this strong pace here. 47 for the opening half mile with a half mile to go. Then farther back in the field, Recapture the Glory, third on the outside. And the fillies right there and with the fighting chance. 8 Bell, she's fourth. And there goes Big Brown. Big Brown on the far outside. He's catapulting past horses one by one. Now he was fifth just a moment ago. And now he's second as they come toward the top of the stretch. Tail of a Cocky is also right there. And then Colonel John comes on the scene late as the field turns for home at the top of the stretch. And it is Big Brown who rolls open now to a 3-length lead. 8 Bells is second, Recapture the Glory is third, Tail of a County is fourth, in the final furlong of the Kentucky Derby. And it's going to be Big Brown bounding home to a convincing win in the Run for the Roses. It is Big Brown by 5 on the wire. The filly 8 Bells was second. Dennis of Cork came from 20th to be third under the line, and Tail of the County was fourth. There's the Derby winner, Big Brown, and he delivered today.
But what did Bob Neumeier say earlier about Rick Dutrow in the home of Muhammad Ali? If you can do it, you ain't bragging. And Rick Dutrow was confident, super confident. Some said disdainfully confident. Well, it looks like he had a reason to be confident. Big Brown, outside post and all, didn't even break on the lead. Just bided his time in fourth going to the first term. He's the unofficial winner. You saw the time, 2:01 and change. Kent DeSormo gets the win. We saw his family just before the race, the apprehension on their face. His son Jacob, with his first Kentucky Derby, witnesses his dad win the Roses. Gary, it looks like this horse is the real deal.
He's the real deal, and he did exactly what Kent DeSormo and Rick Dutrow said he would be capable of doing. They look very smart right now after saying they wanted the 20 hole. That's the trip they wanted. Just stalking on the outside. They said he didn't need the lead. He didn't have the lead. And there, he's still a fresh horse. Kent DeSormo just came off there, and Outriders got a hold of him. He landed on his feet, but that's the sign of a horse that's still fresh after running a mile and a quarter there.
A little embarrassing, though.
Well, a little embarrassing, but he's not going to be too embarrassed. Getting back up, there's how the Cowboys do it. Just swing back up on there.
And we're told now that 8 Bells, the filly, has been injured.
Trying to get some information right now.
There she is.
Going on. The track ambulance, equine ambulance was just headed over there. I think that's probably what Big Brown had spooked from. That's just about 20 yards away from where that accident had happened.
So Kent DeSormo with his third Kentucky Derby win, the first for trainer Rick Dutrow. Let's go to Donna next to Kent DeSormo.
Ken, first of all, congratulations. You've already won 2 Kentucky Derbies. How special is it to win your third?
I tell you what, with what's going on in my career over the past 10 years, I feel absolutely like the luckiest man alive, because God certainly has blessed me with all of this fortune, beautiful horses, wonderful people to ride for. And I just want to thank my family right now for moving east. I uprooted them, grabbed my kids from their friends, took them east, and this was why.
I'm sure they're going to feel like it's worth it to watch you win this third Kentucky Derby. This is a horse that Dick Dutrow, the trainer, was outspokenly confident about all along. You were more subdued. Were you feeling as confident, or were you just keeping it all in?
I think the most obnoxious thing I said was that this was my best chance I ever had to win a Kentucky Derby, and you know what I've been on.
That's a very powerful statement. Let's go to Bob Neumeier, who's with Dick Dutrow.
Well, with Rick Dutrow, Rick, what does this mean to you?
Everything. I can't describe the feeling that all of us have right now. It's just an unbelievable feeling.
What is it about this horse that made you so confident going into this race?
What you saw today. That's what made me so confident. I can't explain it, Bob.
10 years ago, when you were down and out, you were sleeping on some stall at Aqueduct. Is there one person or one moment that puts you on the straight and narrow to where you are today?
I think a whole lot of people helped me.
I don't have enough time to name them all, but I swear to God, I got so many good people around me. Just incredible feeling what we're going through right now.
And the Preakness if he comes out healthy.
We're ready to roll, Bob.
Rick Dutrow.
All right, as Big Brown becomes the first horse since Clyde Van Dusen to win from post position 20. That was in 1929, the 52nd favorite to win in 134 years. But a sad end to the race. 8 Bells, the filly, ran her heart out. She was second. And here is the equine ambulance pulling up next to 8 Bells, who I guess pulling up, Gary, had a problem because she did finish second behind, although 5 lengths behind Big Brown.
Yeah, she came into the stretch, was fighting back. It looked like she was done at about the 3/8 pole. Midway around the final turn, it looked like she wasn't going to get any part of it. She battled back to finish a good, strong second. Galloping out, she was down on the ground. Not sure what happened. Wouldn't want to speculate myself at this time.
Dr. Larry Bramlage is standing by, and he's with Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Tom. Dr. Bramlage right now, just as we're getting ready to talk, he was getting a preliminary report. He's getting more information right now on his walkie-talkie, Tom. We'll stay right here with him and come back to you. We should have an update in the next 30 seconds or so.
All right, Kenny, let us know when Dr. Bramlage is ready, as 2 actually equine ambulances pulled alongside 8 Bells.
You know, my experience over the years riding, I've had horses that did collapse after a race, and most of the time turned out to be heart related or some type of aneurysm.
All right, let's go to Donna back out on the track.
Well, Gary, I believe you're right. I was watching all the horses gallop out after the races. I was waiting for Big Brown, and I saw her just suddenly fall. And as you said, it could be heart related. She never did get back up again. Now, that doesn't mean that it's terrible. It might mean that she just is trying to recover, and they decided to keep her down there. A lot of times they'll do that, but we'll have to wait for that official report from Dr. Bramlage. I can tell you that 8 Bells jockey got up and walked away and obviously was very concerned. Let's go to Kenny Rice. I think he's with Dr. Bramlage now.
All right, Donna, thank you. Dr. Bramlage, you've just gotten off the phone talking to the other veterinarians. What is the report on 8 Bells?
Unfortunately, she broke both front ankles and collapsed, lost support to both of them. And so they immediately euthanized her because there was no possible way to save her. And that's an injury that's painful. So they just euthanized her immediately.
All right, doctor, it's never a good time to be here, I know, in these situations.
No, it's a bad injury in both front legs.
All right, Dr. Bramlage, thank you for your time. Tom, sad moment here as the others celebrate the Derby for 8 Bells and her connections, Tom.
The incredible swing of emotions, the joy with Kent DeSormo, Rick Dutrow with Big Brown, his daughter Molly, remember the story, traumatic life she has had, Kent DeSormo's wife Sonia, and the joy here juxtaposed with the sadness with the Porters and with 8 Bells, Larry Jones, his wife Cindy.
Michelle, they cannot beat this horse.
We'll take a replay of this move going into the far turn. Kent DeSormo starts riding this horse pretty vigorously at this point right now. They're about 3/8 of a mile out, and the response wasn't instant. It took him about 3 or 4 strides to hit that gear. Once he got him up a half a length off the lead, still got about 5/16 of a mile to run right now. Approaching the quarter pole, his ears are still fluttering around a little bit, gets him into the hard drive, switches into his lead beautifully right there from his right lead into his left lead, or left lead into his right lead. Kent reaches back, gives him a couple of smacks, which he hasn't felt a lot of here. He continues to widen the last 1/8 of a mile and wins with a lot of authority here, and looks like a very, very fresh horse finishing up here.
Yeah, that's what's impressive. He just looks as strong as ever as he crosses the finish line after his first race at 1.25 miles and only the 4th race of his career. Rick Dutrow and his friends, the owners from IEAH Stables, and Paul Pompa Jr. celebrating the victory of Big Brown. Here's the DeSormo clan. Sonia with the Jacob with those implants, enabling him to hear the roar of the crowd for his dad's mount, Big Brown. And Kent on the horse. Final strides. Right now he knows he's got it won, and it's a sweet feeling. Kent DeSormo has rejuvenated his career And perhaps, as you said, Gary, a little more mature now, thinking about his family and his responsibilities. And he's won his 3rd Kentucky Derby as Big Brown becomes the 7th unbeaten Kentucky Derby winner. Big Brown wins the Kentucky Derby, and when we come back to Churchill Downs, we'll have the payoffs in the 134th Run for the Roses. Thanks to the MetLife blimp for providing today's dramatic coverage. MetLife has the protection you need for the most important ifs in your life. Visit MetLife.com today. Big Brown has won the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs in Louisville. And here are the payouts. $685, $480, 8 bells, the ill-fated filly, $10.60, $640, Dennis of Cork, coming from last, as Tom Durkin called it, $11.60. The exacta $141, the try $3,400, and the super $58,737. So Big Brown now unbeaten in his 4 career starts as the favorite, winning this Kentucky Derby. And let's take a look now at our Avidart in case you missed it replay.
There was a stampede at the start, but not for Big Brown. Pyro right at the start. Gets it from both sides here, gets squeezed, and that's his race right there. Pretty much knocked out of it. No clipping of heels or anything, but you definitely did not want that to happen early on. It's a clean start. Far outside right-hand side of the TV screen there. Big Brown. The only trouble he's going to have in this race is going a little bit wide, but Kent DeSormo's got to love the position he's got right now. He's laying about 6th right now. Nobody in his way, no dirt in his face. That was one of the big concerns about this horse, is whether he could handle getting dirt in his face. Well, they took that element clear out of it. Ease into this first turn in the perfect situation. Just cruising right now. It's a matter of just waiting for Kent DeSormo.
Can you feel the strength of your horse underneath you and say, I've got so much horse, I don't care if I'm a little wide?
Oh, absolutely. You know, crossing underneath the finish line for the first time, going under these twin spires, what your chances are going to be. There's a ton of horse underneath Kent DeSormo right now. You can see that he's got his feet in front of him, actually restraining this horse, saying, no, 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 not yet. Let's wait until we straighten up into the stretch. Let's save all of this energy, keeping him well out off of the rails.
And out of trouble.
And
right?
the reason for that is he's keeping this horse relaxed. The closer you put a thoroughbred that's had works in the morning towards the inner rail, the more they want to pull, the faster they want to go. He's keeping this horse nice, relaxed out there, just as if it was a morning workout for him as they enter the far turn.
And here he is, and about now, Kent chirps to him, and as you said, it took him a minute or two, a stride or two to really get rolling, but once he did, look out.
First time on this racetrack in the afternoon, and did take him a couple of strides, but man, when he did hit that stride, he got right up to half a length off the lead in about 4 or 5 strides after that. And look at the acceleration here coming off of the turn. It's tough to see. This is a great shot we have right here because it shows the actual acceleration coming off there. It's tough to feel that unless you're sitting on a horse's back. That shows it pretty good right there, and that acceleration was something that you don't find in many racehorses.
And there he goes, headed to the finish line, and an overwhelming victory in the Kentucky Derby. Big Brown. And that's a look at our Avidart in case you missed it replay. And here is the complete order of finish now in the Kentucky Derby. Big Brown, 8 bells, sadly second, and then was injured. Dennis of Cork, Tail of a Cotty recaptured the glory, 5th, as the Roussel and Lamar came back after the 20th year anniversary of Risen Star's defeat. And Smooth Air, Visionaire never really fired. Court Vision all the way down to Big Truck, Adriano, and Mamba, who brought up the rear. 59 lengths beating Mamba as Big Brown and Kent DeSormo celebrate. beneath the twin spires of Churchill Downs, where Big Brown has won the Kentucky Derby. And for the winner's circle festivities, let's go to Bob Costas.
All right, Tom, as you put it earlier, triumph and tragedy today at Churchill Downs. Here is the triumph part of that story. Big Brown, jockey Kent DeSormo, trainer Rick Dutrow, and many of Big Brown's connections, many members of the very sizable ownership group. And also here, as we prepare for the presentation, is David Novak, the CEO of Yum Brands.
Well, Bob, what a great day for the Commonwealth of Kentucky and the world. On behalf of Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, Long John Silver, and A&W, Yum Brands is the proud sponsor of the greatest event in the world. Thank you very much.
Bob Evans is the CEO of Churchill Downs. He'll present the governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Steve Beshear.
Thanks, Bob. Let me first of all thank all of our sponsors, including Yum and Visa. They've been terrific. You guys at NBC have been terrific to work with. This is the second largest attendance in Derby history, and we're really excited about that. A beautiful day here in the Commonwealth. And to present the trophy to this year's winner of the 134th Run for the Roses, good friend, Governor Steve Beshear.
Thank you, Bob. Each year on the first Saturday in May, the world focuses on Churchill Downs and the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And each year, Kentucky shows the world what a great place this is to work and live and play. And what a race we showed them today. Our congratulations to Big Brown. And as the governor of the Commonwealth, the horse capital of the world, I'm pleased to present this owner's winning trophy on behalf of about 100 or so owners in IEH stables, to Mike, to Rich, to Paul. Congratulations, my friends. You've done a great job, and what a great team.
Mike, as the governor mentioned, there are many of you. We'll designate you as the spokesman, Mike Ivarone. A quick thought on what's been accomplished today.
Well, first off, our sympathies go out to the connections of 8 Bells. I know she was a terrific filly. We just found out about it. As far as this for us, you know, there are very few things in your life that you'll ever experience that even compare to this. Other than the birth of my children, this is right up there as a dead heat.
Congratulations, and now on to the Preakness.
We just can't wait to be in Baltimore.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Now let's go over to another Mike, Mike Battaglia, who's got trainer and jockey somewhere in this crowd of people.
All right, thank you, Bob. And it is a very crowded winner's circle. Rick Dutrow will talk to you first. Kent DeSormo, great ride. You've been saying all week how good this horse was. If you're, he went out there today and he proved everything that you said was true.
Well, he's been saying that to me, and he's been telling everybody that have watched him or been getting on him that he's just sitting on a race. And all he needed to do was like the track. We had a good post where nothing was going to get in our way, and he showed up the right way.
I don't think it mattered what post you had today, Rick. Kent DeSormo, you were from that outside post. We've got an isolated replay coming up of, here we go, right here. Tell us about your trip here from the 20 hole, Kent.
Well, I tell you what, he broke listening to the crowd. The crowd, he was attentive to the cheers. He knew something big was happening. He took a light hole right through here. And I swear, I think in about 50 yards, you're going to see me, my head's on the swivel. I'm trying to figure out where I want to tuck in. But this colt starts swiveling that left ear. He's going to be like, okay, let's follow this guy. He's just a really intelligent horse and a pleasure to ride. Michelle's done a great job with him. He's right in my hands. And right through here, he stopped pulling. He just got into a very comfortable cruising canter. And he stayed in that form, in that canter, probably all the way to the half-mile pole. So right about here, we're turning down the backside. He gave me a nice lead change. In other words, if it were a golf swing, he's going through the basics right now. He's got his hands in the right place, and he's taking it all the way back, torquing it up, and just giving me a nice ride. Now, as we get to here, I'll explain it to the fans like being Tom Cruise in Top Gun. This colt has got his ear on the target. I'm locked on now. I mean, it's just, he's locked on the horse right here, and all I've got to do is pull the trigger. Right about here, you see my hands, I'm asking him now. I asked him to reel this guy in front of me, gave him a little light scrape on his ear there, and he took off. I said, okay, now I'm happy. Let's continue with this canter here.
Right here, when you really asked him to run, The rest of them, you can forget it.
Actually, right here, well, until I spanked him there, I had actually let him get a breather. I let him slow down and canter. Look at him now. He's just all within himself. He's not straining yet, and he's not throwing the gauntlet down for the wire. And then right here, I asked him to give me his best stride, and he just started stretching his legs. He actually didn't stretch him. He just started adding power to the stride that he has, and he's got some power.
Kent, great ride. Rick, great job getting you. I guess if he's Tom Cruise, you're his wingman because you sure had this one ready. And Big Brown, a powerful, powerful performance here in the 134th running of the Kentucky Derby. So guys, an excellent job. Great job. What about the Preakness?
Can't wait to get there.
Any predictions?
Not yet.
And how about you, Kent? This is Jacob's first Derby. What do you think about that?
Well, I was so glad that my family's here to support me, and we're looking forward to the love of the world with him, and I wish the Preakness was in 2009.
And this puts you in some pretty elite company with 3 Derby wins. You're up there with Gary Stevens, Angel Cordero, and only about 7 others with 3 or more Derby wins in their career.
Well, I got to thank people like Mike Ivarone and IEAH. They've given me the opportunity to ride these beautiful horses, and Babe here, he had them breathing fire, and I just want to thank Churchill Downs and the fans and UPS and everybody for having us out here today.
All right, thanks guys, congratulations. Let's go back to Tom and Gary.
All right, Mike, and so Big Brown will head to the Preakness undefeated, the 7th Kentucky Derby winner to win the race undefeated, and he's won his 4 career races by a combined total of 34 lengths. That's 8.5 lengths per race. Is anybody going to beat him in the Preakness?
You know what? He gets to shorten up in distance. Looks like a fresh horse coming off of this race today. I like that shortening back up. He possesses speed like Seattle Slew had. It's been 30 years since we had our last Triple Crown winner. It's time for another one.
All right, we look ahead to the Preakness at Pimlico. We'll be there 2 weeks from today, Saturday, May 17th, the Preakness Stakes right here on NBC, starting at 4:30 Eastern Time. Go to the all-new NBCSports.com for complete coverage from the biggest day in racing. And coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's your local news. Then starting at 8, 7 Central, it's Medium, followed by Law and Order, Criminal Intent, and Law and Order. Big Brown, Rick Dutrow, Kent DeSormo win the Kentucky Derby, but the tragedy, too, of the ill-fated 8 Bells. For our entire NBC Sports crew, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from Churchill Downs. You've been watching the 134th Kentucky Derby presented by Yum Brands.